Hello, this is Don, and welcome to Two Saws Tips channel. Today I'm going to be changing the oil in my 2024 Toyota Camry LE Hybrid. The nice thing is this should be exactly the same. If you have a 2018 through a 2024 Toyota Camry, it should be the same. Whether it's the hybrid or the non-hybrid, pretty much an oil change should be the same, and that's what we're going to do today is an oil change. It's pretty basic, but you know, it differs very slightly with different cars, but the basic steps are the same. So first I'm going to remove the cover. It just comes off like this, and then this is the oil fill cap in the valve cover here. We just open this. This is where we're going to pour in the new oil after we drain it. Okay, so first we have the motor oil. The manufacturer specifies or recommends SAE's 0W16 oil. I'm deviating from that. I made a whole nother video about that subject, so in case you're wondering what am I thinking, why am I doing that, but I'm putting in 5W30. Mobile 1, 5W30, and I have a Purolator Boss filter, and it is a PBL 14476, and that's what I'll be using today for this oil change. Okay, this is the bottom cover, and this is a little door, an access door. It's called the oil drain plug access panel or door, and it takes 10mm screws that hold it in. So I'm going to have to undo this to gain access to the oil drain plug, and also the oil filter is also underneath there. So I'll just go ahead and undo these 5 screws. Okay, this is the last screw. I'm getting done now, pulling it out. And as soon as this comes out, there goes the cover. And we'll just set it right down here. And as you can see, we have the oil pan is right here. Here's the oil drain plug is right here. And the oil filter is actually right in here. No, it's right over here is where the oil filter is. So oil filter's here. Drain plug is right here. And this again for the Toyota Camry. If you have a different kind of vehicle than a Toyota Camry, just make sure you have the right plug, because there are some cars that do have drain plugs for like the transmission and other things. So you just have to make sure that you have the right drain plug. And if there's any question whatsoever, you need to make sure you confirm which one is which. Okay, that cover I just removed was 10mm. Took a 10mm socket or wrench. This drain plug takes a 14mm. And we're just going to break it loose. And we're going to slowly do it. I do recommend nitrile gloves when you do this. This oil is hot. The other thing is you want to change your oil when the engine is hot. And the oil will be hot, so to prevent from getting burned, one of the protections is thick nitrile gloves like these. I do recommend to help protect your hands, and also it's not good for your health to have skin contact with used motor oil, especially used motor oil. So that's why I'm wearing gloves. So we're just going to basically, right there, I'll fish the plug out, the oil drain plug. I will fish out of the oil afterwards. So now it's just draining. We just let the old oil drain out. Okay, this is a oil filter wrench. They make these in various sizes. You just have to make sure there's different styles that they make. But you use this to loosen up the old oil filter, because normally you won't be able to do it by hand. Now it may look like I'm going clockwise, but I'm actually going counterclockwise because the oil filter screws in this way. So it's the opposite. Okay, and then we're just going to get it by hand the rest of the way here after I've loosened it. And now we're going to see oil start to drip out Now, I'm using a second pan just to make it easier so I don't have to wait for the oil to finish draining out of the drain pan. But if you have a single pan, then just wait until this basically stops dripping or almost stops, and then reposition it. Usually with the one oil pan, you can reposition it to catch the oil from the oil filter. So as you can see, as I'm opening this up now, oil's going to start is draining out, and right now I'm just unscrewing. There it is. See, there's the old oil filter, and we're just going to go ahead and let it drain. Okay, this is the new oil filter, and we're going to prepare to put on the new oil filter. And the way you do that, you get a little bit of the oil. Normally you can use the used oil, but I always just like to use the new oil. But I just put a little bit of oil on my finger, and I just spread the oil on the gasket, just like so. And I also put a little tiny bit on the threads. And now we're ready to install the new oil filter. Okay, now we're ready to put the new oil filter on. Now, one thing you do have to make sure, wipe the surface where the gasket goes on the where the oil filter screws on. Make sure to wipe the surface clean, and make sure that the old gasket is not stuck to the housing on the engine block where the oil filter screws on. So you just want to make sure of that, because that can sometimes happen. So I'm just going to basically try to screw it on now and get the threads started. There we go. And now I'm just screwing it on. Now when you put the oil filter on, all you do is you're putting it on hand tight. You want to just put it on hand tight. You do not use the oil filter wrench to tighten it. That's a mistake. Otherwise it'll be over tightened and too hard to take off the next time. And also it needs to be good and hand tight, but not excessive. So if you're a really strong person, don't overdo it. And also, don't get a hernia doing it. Just good and tight, like that. That's a good amount right there. And now the new oil filter is on. Now my vehicle takes pretty much exactly 4.5 quarts, 4.5 quarts with the filter, 4.5 quarts of oil. This is 5 quarts. They don't really, sell 4.5 quarts. It's either 5 quarts. Sometimes you can find 4, but most of the time you have to buy it in a bottle like this for 5 quarts. So what I always do, because it's convenient and because the vehicle's not been burning any oil at all between oil changes, what I normally do is I go ahead and pour off 2 cups, which is a half a quart of oil, into a clean measuring cup, and I pour that through to help get some of the dirt out. And so I'm going to go ahead and pour off 2 cups, and I'll be pouring that through, and that'll help get more of the crap out and basically wash the bottom of the pan, if you will. And so we'll go ahead and be pouring that through now. Okay, so this is the 2 cups of oil, the extra 2 cups or half quart of oil, and I'm going to go ahead and pour it through. The drain plug is still off. That's all we've done is undo the drain plug, and I'm going to go ahead and pour this into, and this is not something normally anybody does. I just do it because it's convenient for me, because the car is not burning any oil. And then that way, between oil changes, I would have to save up 9 of the half quarts basically, or something like that, before I'd have enough for another oil change. So for me, it's just more convenient this way, because then I have 5 quarts of used oil to take back to the collection place. By the way, you can turn your used oil into any Jiffy Lube, auto parts store. There's all kinds of places that'll take used motor oil. Okay, now I'm going to fish for the old oil plug. I've let this cool a little bit. It's still pretty darn hot, but I was able to get it. I got lucky and I got it nearly right away. But sometimes you may have to wait for it, or you could use a little magnetic tool that they sell, these little magnetic retrieval tools for like drop screws. or whatever. You can use a screwdriver to try to feel for it. But again, as long as you have these good nitrile gloves, they protect pretty well, and you can fish in there and get your drain plug out. So now we're going to change the crush gasket. The Toyota oil plugs have a crush gasket, or what most people call a washer, and you change it every time you change your oil. You put a new one of these on. You can get them at any dealership inexpensively. They also sell them online, and they fit pretty much all the Toyota drain plugs. Use the same one. So this little guy here, we're going to go ahead and replace it. Okay, now I'm going to put a new crush washer on the drain plug. You're supposed to change the crush washer every time. The bottom of the drain pan is smooth, so if you see like what looks like a little flange on the bottom of your oil drain pan, it's probably the old crush washer that's stuck to the pan, so you need to use a screwdriver to get it loose. But in any case, these are not very expensive. You can get them at any Toyota dealership. They're about $1 something a piece, I think. And these are called crush washers. I'll put the part number in the information for the video. It's called a gasket, an oil plug gasket, or a crush washer. So you put a new one on every time. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on just like that. And now we're ready to put the drain plug back in. Now normally you don't have to get a torque wrench to torque the drain plug on the bottom of the pan. You can just use a regular wrench if you have good mechanical sense to get it really good and tight. But if you really want to do it extracurricular, it's 30 foot-pounds is the torque specification for the Toyota Camry for this particular engine. So it's already set to 30 foot-pounds. It'll just click when I get to 30 foot-pounds. So I'm going to use this to replace the drain plug. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the drain plug, and I'm just going to wipe it with a towel, and you can right there, and then just going to put it, reinstall it. You always start it by hand. You never put a wrench on it to begin with, or you can accidentally cross thread it. So you just put it in hand tight, just like that, and then we're going to use the torque wrench, and it's already set for 30 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it now. That's it, 30 foot-pounds. Okay, now it's time to put in the new oil. So we already replaced the drain plug, and we already replaced the filter, and now we're going to go ahead and add the oil. Okay, and then one more tip is that the end of the funnel, the tip of the funnel, it can be blocked. So what you may want to do is, so when you're pouring it into the funnel, you may want to lift it very slightly so that it's able to easily pour through the funnel into the engine. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put the cap back on. And normally you just kind of wipe it clean. There's a little rubber seal on it, and you just basically just screw it back onto the valve cover, and it just goes on with your fingers, and it just basically goes on hand tight like that. And that's it for that. Okay, now we're going to replace the cover, the access cover, and it basically just has a little tongue that goes up over the other bottom cover, and you just basically put in get them all started by hand. There's these screws, and it's just plastic. They only screw into plastic, so you have to be really, really careful not to strip these out. In fact, I've already had to replace the little clips, or the little plastic nuts, which are like clips that go on that these screws screw into. Okay, so now I'm just going to snug these in like I said, and we're just basically just putting them in until they just are just kind of snug, almost not very tight at all. See how I'm barely putting any pressure on it? That's all you want to do, because again, these nuts that these screws screw into are just made out of plastic, and they will strip out very easily. So as you can see, I just got them all snugged in there and we're done. Okay, and now the final step is to put the engine cover back. It just goes on. You can always tell if you're lining it up correctly because the oil fill hole, it will go over the oil fill hole. And as you can see, you can just kind of feel that it goes into place. It just pushes on, and now we're finished. Okay, now if you want to double check your oil level, and it is a good idea to double check it, you will want to do this after you've already run the engine and got it warm again. And once the engine is warm and then stopped for 5 minutes on a level surface, totally level, that's when you want to check your oil. And the way you do that, here's the oil dipstick right here with the yellow handle. And we just basically pull this out. And what you'll do, and remember, this is with the engine off but hot, and with the car parked on level ground, and you just basically wipe the dipstick clean. You put it into the dipstick tube. You put it all the way down, and then you pull it out, and then you go ahead and you can read your level. And there's 2 dots. And of course, this is not going to be a good example because I haven't run the car yet. But in any case, it's between these 2 dots. You want to have it up near the level up near the top dot. And the bottom dot means that you need to add a quart of oil. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to reset your maintenance reminder after you've done your oil change. If you're not taking your car into the dealership or another mechanic every 5,000 miles, the reminder will come up and it'll keep telling you that maintenance is needed. So depending on whether you take it in or you want to do your own maintenance, you may want to reset your maintenance reminder. So the way you do that, from your main screen, you go to these buttons right here. You click on the up arrow button. You go to the right arrow all the way till you get to the settings thing. Then you click the down arrow and you go all the way to vehicle settings. And you can see you have to keep scrolling a long ways. You click the OK button to select vehicle settings. Then you're going to go down further, and you're going to go down to scheduled maintenance. You're going to push the OK button, and then it'll say reset data, yes or no. And you can switch between them by just using the arrow. So I want yes, I want to reset the data. You just push OK, and reset is complete. And now that is how you reset your maintenance reminder.